Welcome to our unstoppable agents and investors across the country. Today is Thursday, March 19th, 2026, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 569. Tim, what have you got for us this week? Or what? I'll let you
I thought we
start it
lost you
off. Go
again there
ahead.
for a second.
I did too.
I thought we lost you again there for a second.
Yep.
Like somebody said, it's like Max Headroom. Hey, thanks everybody for being here. Um, Obviously, it's an interesting time, and we got kind of a small group today, and we'll spend some time focused on questions that you guys have. I've got some questions I want to ask. I'm hoping that we have a few more people here before I get into my questions, so I'm going to wait and let that build up a little bit. I just sort of had an anticipation we might be a little light on attendance today, and unfortunately, that's proving to be correct. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, Bruce. Good to see you, bud. Um, yeah, we don't have a planned program. This one is strictly to get some participation and some feedback from you guys. One of the things that we've been trying to do is to not just consistently have the same thing every time. So the last couple, we had a straight up presentation and showed you some things and talked about some things. And this time we're doing strictly audience participation and discussion. So that's kind of where we're at. Um, I wanted to uh, bring up a couple of issues, and they really have to do more with what's kind of going on in the industry and all of that. Um, I, because of I get called a lot. Jim gets called a lot because our names are on the door, so to speak. And um, so, we're frequently talking to other people in our industry about, what's going on and how things are working and what is and isn't working and all of that. And um, one of the things that we're hearing is that there is an upheaval going on right now, and that the larger brokerages, or some of the larger brokerages, are beginning to use their their selected CRM, if you will, as a somewhat of a retention tool for keeping the brokers and agents under their shingle, so to speak. And what I mean by that is that and I'm not going to name names because I know some things about sort of what's going on in the industry, but most of the major companies, the Remaxes, the KWs, those folks, they have sort of a preference of what they'd like you to go use. Well, it's getting tighter now, and Zillow has added to the mix, so they're all running their own captive CRMs, and they want you to use it. Once you get all your stuff into a CRM, you don't want to move, and that's one of the great things about holding on to getting people into things that send you recurring revenue, is that they'll pay you every month because it's too much trouble to do something different. We realize that, and I'm leading up to a question. That's why I'm setting this table here. Um, whether you're watching us online and kind of just listening and not participating, or you're on the call, I'd like you to answer a couple of questions for me if you would. If you're on the call, I'd like you to answer them in chat if you would. And that's just drop into chat, what's the CRM that you're using, that you personally use right now? And I will wait and let's see if anybody can figure out how to do that. Just click on the chat button and you can put it in. Don't all jump at once. Great. Thank you so much. Okay. I'll ask my question again. I got four of you to reply, and if the others would just say, don't use one, picked one, multiples, try whatever. Just give me some feedback if you would. And Connor, if you'll keep track of what people are saying online, I'd like to get that info as well. So part of the reason that I'm asking the question is that I think we're going to spend some time in the next little bit of time doing some push interfaces into some of those CRMs, because if they're using them as retention tools, we need to feed them. So we're going to start right now. We have that relationship with several third-party folks, but we want to do it for the ones that you're using. So that's why I asked the question. Matt, I see you talked about um, Go High, and a lot of people are using that. KW, I see, is on here for the Keller Williams folks. Um, and again, I really appreciate, appreciate the feedback, because that's really what I was looking for. And I got most of the info that I was kind of expecting to see here. Um, Kenneth, I want to ask you a quick question, if you don't mind. I'm going to pick on people because I'm going to do my research if I can today. Kenneth, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, and I want to ask you a quick question here. Well, that's not having any luck. Let's try that. Can you unmute yourself, Kenneth? Great. So you're using Salesforce. Do you have someone who is dedicated to doing that on your team?
No.
So you just do it yourself, pretty much?
Yes.
Okay. And do you find it easy to use?
No.
Okay. Are you happy with it? Let's start there.
No.
Okie doke. So you'd be interested in possibly, it's a twofold question, and I should have said this up front. Uh, we have a purpose-built CRM that we give you for free, don't charge you for it. And um, so that's one that I think is a question, which is that should we decide to uh, do something we've not done before, which is to wrap around wrap around at least a CRM and furnish it with what we're doing that has some additional capability, we might want to do that. So that's why I asked you the question. Have you looked at other opportunities or other options, Ken, and it's just too much of a hassle to change, or you just kind of using it for now?
Just using it for now.
Okay. Well, we'll keep you up to speed on kind of what we're doing. Gary, I don't know if you have your hand up to be called on or not. Are you looking to speak, Gary Simmons? If so, you can unmute yourself there. I just see your hand in the air. You're waving. Okay. I think that's just your picture. No problem. If you want to be called on, guys, click on the heart, and on the heart, you'll see the raise hand. If you click on raise hand, a little hand will come up like I just did on mine, and I'll call on you from that. If you want to be called on, do it. And again, I appreciate the feedback. And Kenneth, thank you very much. Couple of other quick questions. John, I'll ask you, John, if you don't mind to unmute yourself there, buddy. John Knight. John, are you with us there, pal? Okay, well, we'll move on from John. He's maybe doing something else. I'll ask Ryan. Hey, Ryan, I got a quick question for you, bud.
Okay.
You're using KW Command and Follow Up Boss. You're trying to stop using Follow Up Boss. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
I'm anti-Zillow. I don't want them to get any of my money.
Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
Are you going to be missing anything by doing that you can think of, feature wise?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was looking at Billions as a potential alternative. It's built on Salesforce, but I hold Salesforce in pretty high regard. So, yeah, I don't expect KW Command or any brokerage to satisfy all of my needs or wants.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only comment I had about Salesforce and the shot at it has always been that Salesforce is incredibly powerful, got all kinds of tools, and probably the best supported one out there, by the largest players in the game because of its ownership and all that. That makes sense. But I mean, it's doing well. Go High Level makes a lot of noise, but that's primarily a very investor focused tool. And then, the rest of them are in a circumstance where, just like you're in, where they're looking at follow up boss and other things because they're being forced to do it somewhat. So, all right. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for your feedback. You're a good man. Um, Anybody else? Matt, are you happy with Go High Level?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using them for the past going on 6 years, and I mean, I've been actually providing it as like a CRM for some of our clients. So, I mean, yeah, it's been great. It's pretty user friendly, and the only thing that if I were to give it a negative would be that it doesn't have an IDX built in very easily. You kind of have to build it. So, obviously, if someone's doing like buyer side marketing and they want to have tracked buyers, the downside would be that. But I mean, it's great for just, simply reaching out, building out landing pages, websites. It's really good for that. And it's not that expensive.
Yeah. Okay. Justin, I have a question for you because unfortunately you're using one that I've not heard of. Can you tell us a little bit about RE Simply?
Yeah, we just jumped onto RE Simply 2 months ago. It's more directed towards the investor and the wholesaler than it is probably the real estate agent. But prior to that, I was on Left Main, which was a Salesforce platform. Horrible experience over there. And then we were on FUB for a year and a half, and I just found the system to be extremely limited in what it could do. So I'm super, super happy with Left Main or not Left Main, excuse me, with ReSimply, only because of it's its own ecosystem. I don't have to really go outside of it. I ended up dumping in 6 or 7 different subscriptions that cost me well over $1,000. And ReSimply is not expensive, and customer service is amazing. Super intuitive interface and usability. So super happy with it so far.
That's great. They'd be real happy to hear that, I'm sure.
They've heard it. So
yeah, that's a great testimonial for them, for darn sure.
yeah, no,
That's awesome.
they're great. I mean, it's like any system, it has its downfalls. I mean, there's a couple features to the system that I think need to be enhanced. But other than that, I'm super happy with what's going on. So
Okay. Okay.
I think it's probably going to add close to 5 signed contracts a month in the next 60 days. Once I get all the drips and all those fun campaigns up and running.
That's kicking some butt, man. That's awesome. That's great.
Ryan,
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's the last of those questions. I got one more question, and I'm going to kick it back to you guys and let you guys ask any that you have or call on the coaches and talk to them a little bit. The question I was going to ask is, oh, hang on one second. Oh, I see it. Got it. The other question I was going to ask is this. Would it be helpful to you if we would automatically every month make it available to you to push the leads right into your CRM? If you'd like that to happen, just type yes into the chat there if you would, and let us know that you'd be interested in doing that. Obviously, we're not, I see it, not only a yes, but a thumb in the air there. So yeah, type it into chat or just let us know that's of interest to you. Justin says for sure. So if you'd like us to push your data direct into your CRM, make your life easier, that's what we'd like to be able to do. Anybody else? Yes, yes. Great. Please let us know, and we'll continue to follow up. Same thing. If you're not in the Zoom call and you're watching us on other media, please type into the comment section there and let us know the same thing. What CRM are you using? Would you like us to push leads into it for you? Okie doke. Well, that's great. And what you said might crowd the system. Only if lead is property attached to it. Yes, it would definitely have property attached to it if it would. You could determine what would get pushed and not pushed if we did it that way. Okay. I appreciate the feedback. Thanks a lot for the feedback from you guys. And Toby is giving me a thumb as well. I see one other thing in here that we got a question, I believe. Hold on. Da-da-da-da. So someone said, I finally tried calling pre-probate leads yesterday. Most of the numbers were do not call. I sent my letters a month ago. The few numbers I called didn't answer the phone. Tried to leave a message and it clicked off when I said I had sent a letter to their family. What do I do? This is Virginia, and she's asking the question. So, I'll answer this pretty straightforwardly and simply. We furnish you the do not call list for a simple reason. First of all, it's the law, and we believe in the letter of the law and try to follow it where we can. Encourage you to do the same. So that's why we put every lead that we send out to anybody, we automatically run them through the most current version of the do not call list. That's to try to, let you make your own decisions about what you want to do. The only comment that I will make, and I will not, and I'm saying this up front, not giving you legal advice, and that's this. The personal representative, and I'm strictly referring to probate in this case, not to pre-probate, but to probate. The personal representative of the person who has passed is a person who is legally required to stand up for that person. So if in fact you had a lien or a debt to make sure that you got paid for out of the estate, you'd have no alternative other than to contact them. They also have a limited time to do that. So they have to take those phone calls. It doesn't mean that, you're not going to potentially have a problem. Not going to tell you that. I'm just going to tell you that, it's your decision to make. We give you the information, and I think that's your call to make. We don't give advice. I will tell you that a lot of people make a lot of calls, and Matt, I'll ask you to kind of weigh in on this as well because this is your business. So why don't you weigh in on this? And Matt is our not part of our company, but he's the third-party vendor that we use for our recommended solution for making phone calls, and they do a great job. What do you think, bud?
So I mean, with the DNC list, I always kind of tell people to kind of make their own informed decision regarding that. I will say that if you didn't call anyone on if you basically just stuck to the letter of the law, you'd probably only have about 30 to maybe 40% of your leads would be callable. So I mean, as far as like the actual DNC goes, when it comes down to calling personal representatives, again, I am not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. I have to put that disclaimer out there. But I would highly recommend that, you kind of make that determination for yourself. Usually what we do is we look for known litigators to make sure that if we are calling anybody that's on the DNC, we are searching to make sure that we're not going to talk to somebody who's potentially trying to sue you for that. So again, it's kind of go at your own risk. I will probably say that 90+% of our clients tell us, yes, call the DNC list. We don't care. So I'm just telling you what clients tell us. We leave it up to the client every time.
Got it. Got it. And Virginia, I saw your question. You said she's not worried about the DNC, and that wasn't her question. She was just worried about how do they, contact them when there's no personal representative already appointed on the pre-probate. Does she send mailers instead, postcards, letters? So I know that I believe you've talked with Jessica a little bit about this as well. Jessica is your marketing implementation strategist. But my comment would be that it's like everything else. It requires multiple touches. Yes, it doesn't mean that if you send your letters out, that the first time you send them out, the day that you hit somebody at the right time. If you've been on this call, I'm sure you've heard me say over and over, you're at the right place, the right time, top of mind, and hopefully alone. And that's kind of the last piece of that. It's the hopefully alone, and that's kind of the sort of the point there is that it's the hopefully alone piece that you kind of got to worry about. And the way you get to the hopefully alone is that you continue to do it. A lot of people will send one letter out and that's it. If you look at what most of the investor community is doing, they're sending out a letter. They've also got people from all over the world making phone calls, and I get calls still today on property I haven't owned for, 6, 8 years. Um, and it's just on somebody's list somewhere and they make the phone call. In your case, what I would suggest to you is work your budget out, get with Jessica, figure out what you can do going forward, and make as many touches as you can afford. It's all about being at the right place at the right time. I will tell you that increasingly more and more people are mailing and mailing and mailing because people aren't answering the telephone. And that's kind of really, that's the problem that we're running into. Think about your own habits. Almost everybody's been told how to spam filter on their phone. People are increasingly less likely to pick it up if they don't know who's calling. So it behooves you to go and, put compelling mail pieces out there and stay in touch, have a website to land traffic on. And, it's basic blocking and tackling stuff. There's not a lot new about that. You just got to keep at it and keep going with it. You can't just, send one letter out and hope that's going to work. Hey, Bruce, I ask you to weigh in on this a little bit as well, bud.
Well, when I call, I usually call everyone, and I love the idea of filtering out known litigators. One of the issues that I was just talking with someone else about is there are fewer people answering right now. I don't know why. I don't know why there's fewer people answering, but it is the case. So first thing that you have to do is you need to make sure that your phone numbers are protected and white labeled so that the carriers know that you're a real business or a real person and you're less likely to end up in spam. The other thing is you've got to find a way to get in front of people in as many ways as possible, because one person may never respond to a text, but the next person only responds to text. One person never responds to a letter, but the next person only responds to a letter. One person wants to hear an AI voice. Another person wants to hear a real person with an accent. Everybody's different. Some people go to Google and they find someone to help through YouTube or Google. So the idea is to kind of spread yourself out a little bit. And I'm not talking about spreading yourself thin, but build a system that can do a little bit of everything, because I promise you, if you're in the probate process specifically, and you have a house that you've inherited that's sitting empty, there's going to come a point where you engage with someone. There's going to come a point. And if that point is not today, I'm dealing with other things today, and today is the only call that you ever try me, the only time you ever try me, and I blow you off or I curse you out or I ignore you, for you to, any of us to say, oh, that's not a good lead, we're going to be very disappointed in 3 months when we see the house under contract. So we've got to do kind of a little bit of everything, knowing that not any one person is going to respond to all of it. So gradually you just fold more and more systems into your business and ways of communicating with people. And yes, that includes mail. Yes, that includes putting content online. Yes, that includes calling. And if you're only doing any of those one time, you also have a problem. Not to make it sound complicated, but do we want business or not? Do we want to get lucky once in a while? I don't want to get lucky once in a while. If I did, I'd just make calls today. I'm probably gonna catch someone today, but I'm gonna have a whole lot of people that I don't catch. And then next month, if I do the same thing one time, I'm relying on luck. So got to find ways to stay in front of people into that window of time where they're actually looking for help.
For sure. Hey, Mark, you asked a question, and I'd like you to explain a little bit about what are you running into so we can help you there. Roger, I'll get with you in a second. Can you unmute yourself, Mark? There you go.
I was just typing back to Matt because I liked what his response was in the chat. He said, so my question is, okay, and I like to call like right away. I mean, get the information from you guys, and like right away, like that day, be the first one to call them. So, but anyway, so that's one thing. And then I've been finding this really common these days is there's this Google screening. Like you get this, voice that prompts in and asks, please describe why you're calling and leave them, and we'll see if they can pick up the phone. Well, then it says, no, they're busy. So can you go ahead and leave a message after the tone. So what I was asking, and I've been just saying, I'm calling, it's Mark Tonia. I'm calling regarding a probate case number in Ramsey County. And sometimes they pick up and then they think I'm an attorney or something, but anyways, it gets them to pick up the phone. But I like what Matt said. He said, free resource specialist for probate. So I'm going to try that, see how that works.
Yeah, and I think it becomes, you've got some good things to try there. The other part of it is how you tie it together when you get them on the phone. If you put yourself out as a free resource specialist for probate, as soon as they answer the phone, you kind of need to get into that program and talk to them about what you can offer. If you've taken the approach that you're calling about a docket number and all of that, you need to be ready to tell them why. And it's again, you're kind of making the point that I made earlier. This is not what we're talking about right now. Bruce said, do it a lot. Somebody else said, do this and do it simply. I mean, it's conversation. You're in the business that you're in because you do a great job of talking to people. You just got to get to talk to more people, right?
Yeah, and part of that is to introduce myself and let them know I'm gonna be sending them a letter if they, sometimes I ask if they're down the road, maybe that, and I always will say, I know it's really super early in this process, and it's a process. Have you ever gone through it before? I'll start with all these questions and then say, I have some resources. I can mail you a letter, and there's a website with a QR code. You can just, so I'll get into that. And a lot of times I'll say, yeah, just send me the letter. And then of course I'll follow up in a week, make sure they got the letter, and then so on and so on. So hopefully get the listing if there's some real estate. So.
Yep, I think that's good. I think the other thing that I would also suggest is that, a lot of people take a look at their probate leads, and if they have the property information with them, they'll send maybe a letter out to the ones that they know have property that talk about, specific things they can do with property and what happens when, someone passes and what often causes a property to need to get sold and some of the motivating factors there. And then for everybody else on the list, they'll send a postcard out. It's less expensive. And, then they'll mix them up. Next month, they'll send something else out. Some people do more than one a month. It's all about trying to be there when they make that decision. The other thing I would suggest is that you look at the holidays and try to make sure that you get something in writing in people's hands before the holidays, because that's usually when families get together. So when families get together, they often talk about, well, we put this off long enough, we're probably going to have to do something with Aunt Gertrude's house. And so that's another place you want to try to be when nobody else is there. So, keep those things in mind when you're doing it, and keep track of what you're doing. When you do these things, be religious about writing any anecdotal information you can out about any marketing effort you make. If you are sending a letter out and this is the particular letter that you sent, you want to make sure that you know when that went, who got that letter, and be aware of what's working well for you. Monitor it. Be smart about it. Always be testing. If the postcards work well, that's great. If your letter works great, that's great. All those kinds of things are things you need to keep track of. Mr. Roger, what's up, buddy? Unmute yourself there. Fire away, Roger.
Good morning, afternoon. I'm trying to get the video thing going. I don't need the video thing going. Y'all can hear me all right, I guess.
Yep.
A couple of things that I've found is the investor. I'm a realtor, and number one for everybody is I'm a realtor, and I live in a very small market compared to some of the markets that y'all have: Fort Worth, New York City, Colorado, and stuff like that. the county that I live in, there is probably around 300,000 at most in there, and I get maybe 25 to 30 leads per month, and it's I find by the time that I get there that some people just haven't been contacted by a realtor for that, but they have had contact with an investor before I got there. But that's just the way that we all deal with, is just trying to differentiate ourselves. And one of the ways that I've differentiated myself is something that Bruce taught me a long time ago. And one of them is that I have, and I love what Matt had on the comments, is a free resource for probate process. I do one actual adjective added to that, and I say a free non-legal resources for probate, which all of a sudden it removes me, they thinking that I'm trying to interfere with their attorney relationship. And I can then start developing the concierge concept with the resources that I have available with my 15 years of experience in this market. And I can tell you who to work with and who not to work with on that. So I'm trying to differentiate myself when I finally get to the conversation. As far as direct mail, I've done in the past a lot of different types of direct mail, my own, yours, that's prepared. And it just didn't get the reaction that I was hoping that I would get out of it. And I'm going to start again with essentially high impact postcards. I want to reach out first so that they see my name, my face, my concept initially, so that they'll do that. As far as answering phones, and then I'll follow up with a shorter letter with maybe a couple of resources with it. I'm still developing that new concept as I move through it, but it's going to be a more concierge. The question came up earlier in this thing is, why are people not answering the phone? I can tell you that I have hired an app that starts screening the phone calls that come in on mine, and I was getting something in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 phone calls per day that was just some telemarketer that was trying to reach me. So I'm now gotten that with the app. I just basically say, if I'm going outbound, I'm going to go outbound with a text message. And mention the postcard that I sent, and hopefully we'll make a connection with that, and I'll try to get people that want to be called. But as Bruce says in Mastery, the best leads that I get from probate are in fact the attorney leads that are there. And I just use those guys. Who do I need to call on next as an attorney? And as I start moving in that direction, I get more referrals from attorneys than anything else from my sphere. And I do have a sphere, and they do call me when something comes up and they need something going on with that. Late mortgage leads. I have another database that I use, and maybe I can, on another phone call with somebody, to talk about how I can compare the late mortgage leads that you're providing with a database that I have that used to be called from CoreLogic, and I think they've changed their names to Cotitly or something like that, with our MLS, where I've got I can pull up foreclosures in my foreclosure pending, which is a les pendens time frame, which is what y'all are doing on the late mortgages. It's a little bit different, a little bit different than what you're doing, but what I'm finding more valuable is what I get out of Cotility, because it will tell me when the les pendens was issued and whether or not the foreclosure is going to be dropped. It'll show me the life cycle of each opportunity that the bank makes an effort to foreclose on the property. And
So
if that,
Roger,
yes,
Roger, that's good if you're going after people who are already in foreclosure and have already been sent NODs, and they already know that that's happening to them. We get them before that. That's the difference in what we're putting out and what you're working. I'll be happy to talk to you about that, but we specifically uh, avoid the crowd, and we're getting there before that happens. We have a method that we get data from, and when they're late, we know it, and that's before an NOD or list pendants has gone out or anything else. So that's the big difference in our data and their data. You're getting them a little bit later in what you're looking at, and we get them a little bit early. I appreciate the feedback. We'll talk a little bit more, maybe on another call. We'll talk specifically about that. I appreciate it. We've got a couple other folks I want to hear from here. Michael, what's up, bud? Try again there, pal.
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep, hear you fine.
Yeah, so I just recently wrote and submitted to the North Carolina Bar a continuing education class, and I'm hoping it's going to get be approved. It looks like it may be approved, and so that'll give me the opportunity to teach continuing education to attorneys here in the area. And so, other than a typical email blast, I have about 100 estate planning attorneys in my database. Of that 100, I probably got maybe 5 or 6 that I know on a, not to say personal basis, but on we're familiar with each other, right? They know who I am. So those people I know, I'm gonna just pick up the phone and call. So the remaining people in the database I really don't have a relationship with, other than just an email blast saying I can offer the class now, or a letter or a postcard. I'm looking for a unique way to, promote my CE class, my CE luncheon that I'm gonna provide to these people. So I'm looking for ideas for that.
Is that where you're teaching it? At
Yeah, so
lunch?
the idea would be I would go to their office, provide lunch, sandwich box lunch in their conference room, and then teach my course that I created right there in their conference room. And then that way I would have all their contact info. I would submit their names for CE credit and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'd be in their office at their convenience.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you, are you targeting the ones on your probate leads that do multiple handle multiple clients?
At this point in time, I'll target anybody that submits a probate file, that handles a probate file. I don't care if it's 1, 5, 10, 1,000, or whatever. Just any attorney that wants CE credit and wants me to bring them lunch.
No, what I meant was, are you targeting, in terms of your marketing efforts, are you targeting, are you just targeting, are you shotgunning it, or do you want to do some aiming?
Well, I'd like to. Well, that's a great question. I mean, yeah, so these are specifically estate planning attorneys, right? That are doing probate deals. I'm not concerned right now the volume of the probate deals they do. Like, if it's 1 or a dozen, I don't care right now. So we're going to shotgun blast it, I guess, is the answer to your question.
Okay. And last question is, how much CE are they required to do?
They're required to do like, geez, I don't want to say 12, 14 hours a year. So they got to do quite a bit of CE credit. It's not 4 or 8. It's double digit CE credit.
And it's not specified as to specifics
How could you
to
not?
what they have to be, or are some of them requirements?
It can be anything, right? As long as the course is approved by the state of North Carolina, the North Carolina bar, they don't care what it is. Now the bar says it has to be, in order to get the course approved, it has to meet certain requirements, but they're pretty lax, to be honest with you. So as
Right,
long
but
as
you got it approved, so you're good to go. Any attorney can take it.
we haven't approved it yet, but it's been submitted, and I think it will get approved. I've had a couple of people look at it; they think it's good enough to get approved, and it meets the requirements. So yeah, so any attorney, actually, whether it be a corporate attorney doing corporate law, they could take this class just as well and get CE credit for it. It doesn't have to be estate planning.
Yeah, Becky asked a real interesting question. She said, "Is there a place that attorneys can go to find CE stuff? What's available for CE credit?"
Yeah, the North Carolina the courses would get listed on the bar's website of available CE classes. So it would have the name of the class and my name and my contact info. So it would be the attorneys could pick and choose if they wanted to.
Do you get a blurb that you can put in there?
I haven't gotten that far. I don't think so. No, it's just sort of the name of the class and how to reach out to me. And
Okay.
probably a brief description of the class.
Interesting. Because I mean, if you had the opportunity to do it, you could describe the format in which you teach it, lunch and CE credit with Michael. And,
Yeah.
interesting way to do it. And it'd be an interesting way to market it. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think putting together a good mail piece obviously would help. Because you're doing, specifically about it. I think last piece of advice I'd give you is I would go and find, take a few of the attorneys that you're going to be marketing to and call them and ask how other people, either ask them directly or find out how other people are marketing their CE courses to them. How are they finding out? Why did they take the courses that they took before, and how did they get marketed to? And that's part of your answer is see how other people are marketing to the same group, because that's who you're competing with, right?
Yeah, but obviously I'm competing against bigger names. There are some big players out there in the market that's all they do is create CE courses, right, specifically for attorneys. So
Oh
they're
yeah.
sending out mailers to them and little pamphlets and brochures and all kind of things, right? I'm really sort of guerrilla marketing here to these people. So
Well, then you've got another approach to take, because are you tired of the same old people bringing you the same old tired CE courses that bore everybody to tears and sit around? I got something new, and
yeah,
describe it in glowing information, and the fact that it's one of the fastest growing segments, not only in the real estate industry but in the legal industry,
yeah.
dealing with people that are the senior impact of everything. You're in the right place at the right time, and get them at the right place at the right time.
So I guess I'll reach back out to you guys later on. I guess maybe the thing
Yep.
to do and sit down and talk about some kind of marketing piece or something.
Yeah,
Make it look
get in
good.
touch with Jessica, work with her. She's representing, the MIS team here, and she'll be happy to work with you, and I'll be happy to talk to you as well, bud.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
You bet. Appreciate it. Okay. Guys, we got about 13 minutes left on our call. Click on the heart, raise your hand like I just did. Be glad to hear from you, be glad to talk with you, and be glad to hear anything that you've got, say anything you'd like to hear, help, wins, losses, troubles, good things, bad things, your latest dance moves. Matt's really good at that. He likes to show us his dance moves, I don't want to keep you sitting here if we don't have a lot to talk about. Jimmy, you got anything else you want to get to today, bud? Have we lost Jim again? I think Jim's been bouncing back and forth between being on the call and off the call. Oh, there he is. Hey, Jimbo, you around? I think he's having
I'm on
trouble.
my phone now, Tim. I had issues with the internet, so no, I've only heard about half the calls, so no comments, but I'm sure it was all good.
All right. Melissa, you raised your hand. What you need? How can we help you?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So just to go back on the CE training and all that, what is that for? Like, is it better to deal with attorneys that do have CE certification, or I don't?
Well, CE is continuing education is a requirement. So in order to maintain their law license, attorneys, realtors, a lot of people, teachers,
Okay.
all of them have
Got
CE
it.
requirements.
I just didn't know what CE stood for. Like,
No problem. Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem at all. Thank you for asking.
Of
A lot of
course.
times we get lost in the jargon. Yeah, CE is continuing education.
Thank you.
No problem. Appreciate the question. Anybody else got a question? We're now down to 11 minutes. If we don't have them, if you don't raise your hand, I'm going to ask one more round. And if we're out of that, we're going to call it a day, and we'll do this again next week. Jimmy, if you can hear me here, bud, are you still with us? If you want to send them away, please do so.
All right. Yep, I am on my mobile now, guys. From what I could hear, it was another great call. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Particularly thank Tim, Matt, Roger, Kenneth, Jorge, Ryan, Mark, Steve, Michael, and Melissa for actively participating. I want to challenge each of you, take one great idea that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next week and share your results with the group. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. See you same time next Thursday. Take care.
Bye.